everyone. I hope you had a great time in half term, enjoyed all that wonderful weather. Now today I'm going to teach you how to make a long note but without using the dotted notes. We've got a different way of also making longer notes, and it's called tying the notes. Now the tie symbol can be used in two different ways. So it can either be a tie or a legato. So first of all, I'm going to explain the difference between the two. So a tie, and it usually happens across a bar line. So I'm just going to put in our time signature here to tell us that it's 4 beats in the bar. And I'm going to have, I'll put a dotted note in as well, all right? There's a dotted minim, so that's worth 3 beats. And I'm going to have a crotchet here, which makes our 4th beat. And I'm going to tie it on to a minim in this bar. And then I've got 2 beats there, so I'll end up with another 2 beats there. And that's the end of our music. Now, I'm very sorry, that little splodge there is not a dot, it's just a break in the board. So don't confuse that with a dot. Now, so what happens here is the tie acts in music just like a plus sign would when you do numeracy. So what we do is we say 1 plus 2, and then we have a 3-beat sound. But because it's got the tie, we don't separate the crotchet and the minim like we would if there was no tie there. What we would do is we would play that. I'm just going to do it with my recorder so I can do an accurate tune of what's here. So we've got 3 here, 1 here, and then we've got a minim here, and then we've got a minim here. Now I'm going to first of all do it without the tie, and I'll show you what it sounds like. So without the tie, this little pattern would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could hear that I played that note and then I stopped and played that note. But if they're tied together, you don't stop. You just make the sound continue between this note and add it onto that note. So it's one longer sound. So it would sound like this. Starting here again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I hope you could see that that was 3 counts long. 1 count here plus 2 counts here. Now, a tie can also be drawn. Let me just rub that word out there and move it up a little bit because I want to explain something to you. So tie. There we are. Now, we can use this smiley shape underneath the notes, or we can use it on top. It means exactly the same, but a tie only happens when the 2 notes that are tied together are in the same place. Now, these 2 notes are both on the first line of the stave, which, as you know, is an E. But I can also use this symbol, excuse me, this symbol that looks like a smile or a frown, a different way. So if the notes are moving like this, and they have this smiley shape here, or the frowny shape there, It does not mean the same as that. Like this, it is legato. Now, you know in music, the same symbol is used for different things. Like the dot is used on a dotted note like this, but it can also be used either on top or underneath to make a staccato note. So let's listen to what this sounds like, because the legato, this symbol that's used for legato, makes the sounds very smooth. So when you're playing them or singing them, you don't separate the sounds out. It's one phrase. So you would go, ah, instead of ah, 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 ah. Now, I hope you could hear that they were separated the second time. And the same with when we're playing. If we're playing normally, you know, we would tongue the note. We would go t, 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 t. But if it's legato, then you just smoothly move your fingers without using your tongue. I'm very sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. So this little sound, this little passage, would sound like this. So that's what that would sound like. Okay, if it didn't have the legato on it, it would sound like this. So I hope you could hear that they were separated that time. So I wanted to introduce you to this symbol and to show you how it can be used in two different ways. But today I want to focus on tying, which is adding a note to another note, usually across a bar, but it only can be tied if the notes are in the same place on the stave. So let's see if we can make a 6-beat note. Now, if we have a bar that is, let's say it's a 2/4 bar, that means we can only have 2 beats in a bar, but we want to have a big long 6-beat note. How could we do that? Well, what we would do is we would say, what is the biggest note that we could have in a 2/4 bar? A 2-beat note, that's right. So we would have, I'm going to do it on an A this time. That's on the second space in the treble clave. So that's a 2-beat note, but I need a 6-beat sound. So I need to tie it onto another 2. It can't move because otherwise it wouldn't be a tie, it would be legato. And I'm going to make it an upside down one today now. And now at the moment it's only 4 beats long, the sound, but I need a 6-beat sound. So I need to add another bar and another minim. Just stick it down. Oops, wanting to escape. So now I've got 2 plus 2 plus 2. All the notes are in the same place, so it's going to sound like a 6-beat sound. And I'm going to do my double bar line to show that I've finished. I forgot to do a double bar line up here. There we are. So how will this sound? So I'm going to just tap with my foot so you can hear the beat. And there we had a 6-beat sound. So that is how in music you can make a longer sound. You don't have to be tied onto just having a 1 or a half or a 2 or a 4. Because now we know we can have dotted notes. So we could have 1.5, or we could have 3/4, or we could have 3, or we could have 6. If the bar can have that many beats in it. But if the bar cannot have that many beats in it, we use a tie. and then we can achieve a longer sound. Now, I hope that's been really interesting for you. You're discovering all sorts of stuff about music. Now, we're going to turn our attention to the recorder. So I'm just going to let you go and get your recorder, and then I'll start again with that bit. Now, I've moved my board so that's not distracting, and I've moved myself so you can see my fingers. And we're going to, what I'd like you to do is to turn to music set 4, but page 15, that looks like this, and it says, got the EBGBs. Now, I know we have looked at this before, but it was a while ago, so it's always good to refresh. Getting better doesn't mean whizzing through the book and not doing it very well. It's much better to consolidate. That means to really get to know what you know. And because we haven't played this for a very long time now, I thought it was a good idea to have a look at it again, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the book. Now, so don't forget, on page 14, that looks like this, on the yellow strip on here, it tells you how to make an E. Always left hand at the top. Left hand has the L in it. Don't forget. And then your right hand is at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to start. We've done this, so we're not going to look at this page anymore for playing, but if you need to look at it to know where to put your fingers, that's the page to look at. Okay, now I'm propping my music, EBGBs, up against the screen so I can see, you can see my fingers and I can see the music. Otherwise, you can't see what I'm doing. Actually, I'm just going to tilt my screen down a bit. That's better. Hopefully you'll be able to see my fingers now properly. Yep, that's good. Right, so we've got 4 bars before we start, and we've got 4 beats in every bar. But I'm only going to count 1 bar in, because otherwise you'll be listening to lots of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are, finished. Now, I hope you noticed where my eyes were all the time, reading my music, because otherwise I'd have made a terrible mistake. Now, obviously, you will need to practice that maybe a little bit before you try it with the CD. If you put the CD on and you get a bit, oh, don't worry, doesn't matter. Just don't put the CD on and practice it without the CD so that you get your fingers really moving. There's an E, there's a B, there's a G, because it's quite tricky moving all these fingers around. So just be kind to yourself. You don't have to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You just have to learn how to move your fingers so that you're comfortable. But please don't play at one speed when you're playing the notes, and then on the rest bars go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. because that's no good. Because remember, when the music starts, the train is going at the same speed all the time. Now, I hope that you have lots of fun practicing that. And I look forward very much, hopefully, to hearing it very soon. And have a great, great week. Okay, lots of love from me. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.